right. Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we're get started like always. We'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Honor to our faithful, our elders and bishops, great millstone who do well and teach on sound doctrine. Peace, love, and citation. Honor to my good work with truth and sincerity. Brother Mariah Allen, that's your brother Lakama, promotion of GMS Virginia Camp. As you can see, this is going to be a quick hit, touching on purging out the leaven in your spirit. We're in a time of, a sock, the feast days and so on and so forth. It's a very important time to examine yourself in the spirit, purging out particular things in your spirit. All right, so you can be as pure as possible to be deemed up on that period. Because like the scripture says, flesh and blood shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven. So we have to purge out particular things within our spirit and cleanse ourselves via this word, all right, to be a reasonable and acceptable sacrifice unto Yahweh Shah. So you can go ahead and get that scripture out.
Yeah, this is Mark 7:15. It says, "There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man."
Yeah, so it's the things that come up out of a man. A lot of Christians use that scripture and thinking it's speaking about abominable foods, meaning they can put any type of abominable food in a body and it won't defile them. No, that's not what that's talking about. As you continue to read on, all right, it's going to give it some context to give you a better understanding of what it's speaking about. So you go ahead,
Yeah, it says, "If any man have ears to hear, let him hear." And when he was
Yeah, any man
answering,
have ears to hear, let him hear. All right, meaning if you have spiritual understanding, if the spirit is working for you to be able to understand these scriptures, you'll then see what it's speaking about. But not everybody's going to receive it because only the elect, okay, was blessed enough to receive this truth and understand it wholeheartedly. You got it out.
it says, "And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciple asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, Are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entering into the man, it cannot defile him, because it entereth not into his heart, but into his belly, and goeth out in the draught, purging all meats? And he said that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of man, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man."
Yeah, that's because that's all things that are pertaining to the flesh, right? So we had those particular attributes at some point in time in our life, or we still may be fighting those particular things. So that's why we need to purge it out, all right? So we can be holy as possible. Holy means to be separate, all right, and to be cleansed. So if we're calling ourselves Hebrew Israelites or servants of Yahweh Shem Shai, we need to be holy as possible. So those are the particular things we need to examine ourselves on in our spirit to make sure that we purging all those things out. You got it out.
Yeah, yeah. That was all it. That was the end of the point right there. But just to land back off you, you know what I mean? Like, that's perfectly said. Christians will try to be verbatim with it. Be like, look, that is so we can eat whatever we want to eat. No. If you drop down a little bit, the disciples asked about the parable because they understood that he taught, the Lord and the scriptures are basically riddles because it's not meant for the whole world to understand these jewels and gems that we obtain.
Yeah, let me read this real quick. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 7. It says, out this for the whole that he may be as you for yeah.
Yeah, man, you breaking up again. can't hear you.
Yeah, the kind I was saying, he was fucking with the feed, man. Yeah, so purge to be a new lump, you know. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I can get that in the blue letter. So like it's saying fucking with my phone, man, not allow me to go into the definitions. It's not loading at all.
What you need me to get?
The word new lump in First Corinthians 5:17.
You keep going out, man.
Yeah, I just keep muting myself because of the connection. It's like an echo.
Hold on. All right, I'm gonna get it. All right. All right. The word. Well, there's two different words for anew. It's G3501 and it's nehos. Let me see.
Strong's G3501. Naos.
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 And in the blue letter it says recently born, young or youthful, or just new. So I'm gonna go to lump.
Yeah, kind of new. Yeah, kind. It was nothing in the word lump. I came up on it, but yeah, that word new is very heavy because we have to be born again. Meaning we have to relearn. We have to change our whole mindset and change our countenance, our spirit. All right, relearn. You know how we're supposed to maneuver in this society. Right, we have to be moving with wisdom, and by doing that, we become a new lump in Yahweh Shai because now we're following the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and walking His path. All right, because he was that prime example of how to conduct your life, man.
Got you. Uh,
Kyle, you get
yes.
those other two scriptures and we can close out and you can make
Yeah,
a point if you
I
got one.
was. Yes, I know it's messing up. This is 2 Corinthians 5:17, and it reads, "Therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new."
Yeah, Kyle, old things are passed away, which is heavy because Apostle Paul also prophesied about, you know, when he was a child, he spake as a child, but when he came a man, he put away childish things.
Right, right. Yep.
And with that being said, we're becoming we came he became a man. So when you become a man, all right, things are how the way you perceive life is totally different. So you move in a whole different type of spirit. Now that you're a believer in Yahweh Shai, it's the same thing, but way more deeper. You start to understand what life is, you understand what death is, you understand how the spirit works, you understand demons and things on the left hand and the right hand side. You understand the wickedness in high places, you understand who you are, right? And when you learn all those different things, you maneuver differently in the spirit. You become a whole new creature. Can you get that word purge, Baba Kashaw?
You want to in Adam?
Yeah, either or.
Hold on. Yeah, the word purge is to clear of a charge or suspicion, to wash, to clean, to refine, to purify morally or physically.
Yeah,
So
kind. So
basically,
purify morally.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's the process we're going through now. That purging process, we're being refined as gold is refined. All right, the Lord look at us as precious gold of Ophir. So if we're refining ourselves spiritually, all right, when the Lord Yahweh Shai makes his second return, we're going to be changed physically. All right, we're going to put on those new bodies, and we're no longer going to be those old, foul bodies that we used to be. We're going to be immortal. All right, and we're going to be fully righteous. All right.
Yeah,
And the two-thirds, they're going to have to go through that process as well, but they have to die through the nuclear fire. All right. We're choosing to go through the spiritual fire now.
that's right. I'm gonna jump to this last precept. This is
Tom, we could
Ephesians
close
4.
out with that.
Yeah, this is Ephesians 4:21. It says, "If so be that ye have heard of him," speaking of Yahushua, "and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahushua, that ye put off concerning the former conversations the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness. Wherefore, putting away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor." Oh man, come on, man. So, with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. So that means when we come in this truth, man, we have to take off the old man and be on one accord, and basically speaking a new song.
Con, you got more on that?
Um, nah, that's uh let me skip to 29. It says, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." So, once we come in this truth, we're speaking the gospel of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So we have to basically purge and purify the old man and make sure that we are all walking uprightly.
Con, that's right, brother.
Yeah, kind. So that was strictly straight to the point. Salaki for the disruption, but we could close out with that, bro.
Con, you can close this out, Bob Kasha.
Yeah. So we just had the Passat. We got to keep our eye on the swivel and make sure we go into this thing up Salaki upright as possible. So remember to take off the old man and come this thing new. So with that, we can give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Bahakadosh. Double honors to the apostles, great millstone, Kwame Yashala, Waffle Ball,
Kwame Yashara. Waffle. Shalom.
Shalom.